Hi there guys, welcome to my lesson or welcome to my class. And for your first lesson today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a screen printing press with just some basic household tools, and for as little as 20 quid or $20 or £20, whatever I said in my intro. So that being said, let's get it started. As you can see here, this is just the basic tools that I've used, just some gloves, screws, bolts, nails, sand, saw, some clamps, some minor things. And don't worry, there will be a list and an image of all of the tools I used at the end of the video, just so you can refer to it. Also, these are all the materials I used: wood, clamps, bungee, string, an assortment of screws, and some wood glue. And again, there will be an image and a list of all the materials that you would be requiring. So first things first is to be cutting down the main lengths of wood, the 2x4, the 4x8, whichever you were able to acquire, find, or buy. Cutting them down, I think it would be just 4 pieces you'll be cutting now. Using, of course, the miter box makes things a lot easier and a lot straighter cuts. It's very important that you try and keep the cuts as straight as possible. It'll just prevent any sort of future problems. Here I'm just making a T, finding the center of the smaller piece, making 2 marks of where I want the screws to go, and using a big drill bit. This is just to countersink in the hole a little bit. This is just for cosmetic use and to allow the screw to penetrate in a little bit deeper, just to give it a little bit more stronger grip. Using then, of course, the wood glue, very important. Stops any squeaks and creaks that you'll be getting when using it. Then, of course, pop the screw in. Make sure to hold this as firm as possible. Use the clamps or G-clamps or brackets if you want against the table, if it is kind of slipping away from you. But get that screw in nice and tight, as you can see, creating a T, nice and solid. And then do the exact same one with the smaller T, in other words, the smaller arm. The same process as before. Mark the center. Pop 2 holes, screw marks where you want the holes to go. Then countersink it, just a little, not much. If you have a screw that can pass through the whole thing, great, but I recommend to countersink only because it'll just make it easier for the screw to go through and easier. Again, wood glue, not too much, not too little. Place it on top, use the screws. If you have any clamps, I totally recommend to use clamps. As you can see, second one done. All it was is fundamentally just 2 T's, 1 and 2. Now the second piece of wood, the smaller piece of wood, the flat melamine wood. You can use any wood you want here. It could be MDF, could be fiberboard. This is just a shelf that will be pretty much supporting the screen. Using the clamps to find it, find the center, then clamps to, of course, hold it in place. You can put wood glue here if you want, but it's not a very structurally supporting heavy part, so just a couple of screws. 1, 2, and 3 should be more than enough. As you can see, I only put 2. It's not a very heavy object. It's not going to be holding a lot of heavy weight. It's just a little guide for when you're placing your screen. Now, place the small T on top of the larger T and that little small block of wood at the far end of it, and then the hinge sitting on top of all of that. Screw these down so then it becomes like a door hinge kind of thing, as you can see from the illustration here. It's just very simple door hinge. Now, something I did forget to add in the original beginning, but you'll be making 2 small little blocks at about a 45-degree angle. The miter saw box that you have will have 2 45-degree angles, So you just cut a small block and then cut it at a 45-degree angle. And as you can see here, they're being placed at the side of both of the arms. This is just to keep the arm that swings up and down aligned back down when it's settling again. Screw these on. I do not recommend to glue them, because if you need to move them, alter them in the future, the glue will give you some trouble trying to remove it. So just 2 screws both sides, and just so it's in the middle. You can glue the base if you want. I did because I know I won't be removing it, but just in case in the future you wanted to remove it, I do not recommend gluing it. Say if you wanted to make a different size base, you could make a sleeve, you could make an arm, jean leg, etc, etc, and then you just remove that piece of wood, put the wood on top, and then you drape the new jeans or cloth or t-shirt on top of it. Now this is the arm support thing, I don't know what they're called, and all you're doing is making a screw hole through the wood, and then you're placing the bolt through it. This is to increase or release tension from when the arm goes up and down. So you want it to just so it bites. As you can see, I'm going up and down multiple times, making sure that I just get that nice little bite. Like, perfect now. And I recommend, you'll see in a moment, to use 2 clamps, 2, or something stronger like a G vise or something. So just grab the 2 clamps and put it on them, safety first. Okay, make sure you have your glasses on and any other safety gear you require. Go very slow with the wood metal drill bit, and you just pop 2 holes in this and do the same for the other one. And then just need 2 screws going into the wood. Here I'm just, before I'm clamping that down, I'm going to just make 3 medium-sized holes in the 3 legs. This is just so you can screw it down to any surface, or if you choose to. You can clamp it, you can do whatever, but that is there for later. Now I'm going to be putting in the eyelet and the open eyelet holes. Making the marks, as you can see. They don't have to be exact when you're doing them yourself, just roughly. Make sure, very important, that the screw is as far back behind the bracket as possible, as you can see there. So try and keep the metal hinge forward and the bracket, the eyelet, sorry, as far back as possible. And then I'm just going to use a roughly the same screw, slightly thinner than the thread, and then screw it in. If it's becoming difficult, I recommend to use a screwdriver. And to screw them in. Now I'm just using the bungee, getting a rough size first, and then I will be tightening it later. And then getting a rough size on that one. And then just tying them up as tight as you can. Make sure the arm is down when you tighten it. And then when you raise it, proper weight on there. And then if it's able to hold that weight up, you'll know to hold the screen. Normally I don't paint them, but I had some leftover paint. So I thought, might as well give it a nice little lick. And surprisingly, it looks a lot nicer. So I highly recommend to have some leftover paints. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, she is a beauty and fully functioned, made from under 20 quid, I think I paid, or equivalent 20 rupees, yen, then I don't know, but cheap. Hope you guys enjoyed, and look forward to seeing you in the next video where we're going to be learning how to make a screen, putting a mesh on there, making a scoop coder, and a squeegee ready for printing a design, getting a design on there, and getting it on your t-shirt. Love you beautifuls. Have a lovely day. See you next time. Bye.